Welcome to Deep Dive Daily.
Good morning, Andy. We have ourselves some basketball series in round two. If you liked the super teams on paper before these series started, you're going to love them now at these prices. The NBA playoffs are not going great for me, I have to admit. Did not want to really try to wrap my head around the reality that the Thunder could lose in round two here. That loss last night, I have to rewatch because it got to the point where it was like, this is not a other than the spread, I didn't feel like there was much reason to keep a close eye on it. And then you blink, and 13-point lead is, 3, and you're like, oh God. Wow.
What happened there? Was there some sort of run?
There was it. It is a game of runs, Andy. It's a game of runs.
Honestly, the Celtics game too. I really wasn't paying attention. I didn't give a shit, so I wasn't paying attention. But I saw that, and then I wasn't watching nor really tracking the score. And then later I see the next one. Like, what the fuck happened? Like, did they invent a new kind of way to score? Like a 5-point shot? But that sort of stuff happens, and sometimes you live and die by the 3 and you get cold.
Yeah.
You can get awful cold. And now, the people that wanted to do a Thunder Cavs Celtics, this is free money parlay. It's like the updated series prices
plus money now, right?
It's like plus 150.
Are you serious?
I might actually play it.
Oh my goodness. How about that?
How about that?
Okay. Well, let's talk about these 4 series in any order your choice. Dealer's choice.
Let's leave the Wolves for last because they haven't played yet. But start with the Cavs. Like, that's the one that surprised me the most. Like, what went wrong? Oh no!
Yeah. So of the 3 favorites that we just mentioned, the red flag that's the most significant for me is Cleveland.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the health and status of super important players for them. They had, for a team that won 64 games, there was an awful lot of Isaac Okoro involved in game 1. There was an awful lot of Max Strus involved in game 1. And then, that is highlighted. There was an awful lot of Ty Jerome, who's a somewhat limited player. And you kind of stew it all up and you're like, well, yeah, I mean, Darius Garland wasn't available. But then you ask, well, why wasn't he available? They had a big long break and they had the luxury of not playing him at the end of the round 1 series. Nice long break. He's still not ready to go. There's no confirmation he's going today. He's questionable. I've heard the cloak and dagger stuff saying he's not playing until game 3. I don't know what the hell is going on with his toe. I don't know if he's going to be out there and be the same player that we saw in the regular season. So that is a concern. And then Evan Mobley gets hurt in the game. Hunter gets hurt in the game. That's 60% of your closing 5, Andy. That's the way the math works. If 3 out of the 5 guys you're expecting to close either aren't on the court or are not right, there's a reason for concern. So I'm going to say DEFCON 4 right now for me with the Cavs, even though there's a lot of basketball left.
I kind of leave that's a common misconception too about how the DEFCON stuff works.
DEFCON 1 is the worst.
Yeah, like people often confuse that.
Yeah,
5 is like you're okay. 1 is the worst. DEFCON 1 is imminent global thermonuclear war. We're in trouble, guys. So
yeah,
not super worried that. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because of the Celtics thing, but without even talking about the Celtics game, and obviously they're down 102, how does that affect your to win the East percentages? Because it seems like you're a lot more worried about the Cavs than the Celtics. How far has that swung your to win the East prices then?
Great question. So
it feels like the Celtics can just maybe not miss every shot they take and win that series. And then if they're facing, not the Cavs,
So right now, my Cavs series price to get out of the series with the Pacers is minus 227.
Okay.
Bookmaker is offering minus 227. Okay. So I am to the cent. I'm on, although they are big in there. So I guess they don't, I think I get, so I'm a little bit more, I'm leaning more heavily in favor of the Cavs than Bookmaker is, I guess, but not by enough to get outside the VIG. I guess the question and the problems beyond just the East, because I guess like my East price is taking a ding, not just because they're not as likely to win this series now, but because I think there are real questions about the Cavs defensively. This Cavs defense was slipping from like mid-March to the end of the season, right? They had a couple of pretty unimpressive, uninspiring performances down the stretch, and you can say they had nothing to play for. Why would they have been, kind of really doubling down on defense during that window, right? But even in the games where they didn't have anything to play for, but they were like playoff tune-up-esque, it didn't look great for them defensively. So there are definitely worries that the defensive cracks are going to be enough to have a team. If a team is sun running offensively, the Cavs are in deep trouble. And that might happen in this series. That is certainly live to happen in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, instead of kind of really looking at the East as a 2-horse race, I think you absolutely have to open your mind to the possibility of both the Pacers and the Knicks could upset the apple cart here. More likely that the Pacers do than the Knicks by my numbers, but still it's a non-trivial, possibility. So yeah, Cavs to win the East is not a bet at current market price. And I'm actually underwater on the Cavs East I have compared to my current number. So not feeling great.
You never know. A lot of basketball left. There's a lot of basketball left. Let's stay in the East then. Let's move on to the Celtics. And is it as simple as what I said? Mm-hmm. There's not a real chance that they have 3 more games that they shoot that poorly in.
Yes. Yeah. It's just
very hard for that to happen.
So DEFCON 5 for the Celtics. Okay. And just for like reference, like as a Clippers backer who, again, shame on me, won't get fooled again back in James Harden in a playoff series against Jokic. That's on me.
Good series.
It was a good series until the end, but like DEFCON 1 for the Clippers was like halftime of Game 7, where they had let go of the rope. Yeah, it was like, oh, it's over. That's where my DEFCON 1 is. So DEFCON 5 for the Celtics, and I think that these first 4 games are all going to be relatively close, and that we're going to be at 2-2 heading into Game 5. I think that the expectation for Game 2 that the market has right now, that the Knicks are just going to head home to the Garden like mission accomplished, we got one. I don't see that at all. Knicks are going to fight to the death in all of these games and try to win, and they're going to have their chances at the end of these close contests. They could go home up 2-0. It shouldn't shock anyone. It's probably going to be 1-1, but the idea that you've now put an even bigger premium on the Celtics to win Game 2 in terms of seeing that number this morning at 10.5 is wild to me. Out from 9 to 10.5. Like all of a sudden the Celtics are just going to remember how to shoot. Like the Porzingis illness is obviously real. Whatever the fuck is going on with that guy, he was not great in round 1. He was unable to finish Game 1 of round 2. This is something that kept him out a month longer than anyone was reporting or expecting during the regular season. There's clearly something wrong with this guy. And even if he does come back out, he could look amazing for 1 or 2 games. And then, he does his Achilles, or he does his foot, or he does his ankle. Like he is he is as unreliable as there is on the basketball court in terms of availability from a basketball player. So that's a reason to be concerned. Now, Tatum and Brown, are they good enough to eventually solve this Knicks defense and really kind of put a hurting on what they're doing? Absolutely. Like this Knicks defense is not as good as they looked last night in the second half. They're just not. And so the Celtics should be able to score enough to get a cleaner win in Game 2, but I would not advocate laying 10.5 points to anyone. I think that's very, very likely to be a sweaty game. And I think what you do is you just let these early games of this series play out close. They break however they break. And then if you want Celtics, if they are still healthy, if they have figured things out in, say, game 4, let's say they're down 2-1, and then they're a bet on game 4. They're a bet on game 5, and they're a bet on game 6, in my opinion. So generally just, kind of, waiting for the deeper end of this series to get seriously involved. Right now, I have nothing at stake one way or the other in Celtics Knicks.
Yeah, other AJ. The Discord community got a hold of Zigzag Theory 20 years too late. Yeah, keep going on the ones that started then.
Well, actually, let me do price real quick. Sorry.
Okay.
No, series fair right now is Boston minus 200. So I could not advocate laying my 344 for 20. Them.
Yeah, I thought it was like 290. Is it that much?
It's minus 344.
Okay. Yep. Never mind.
So that is a clean pass for me right now. And I'm still projecting he get 30 minutes out of Porzingis every game. Sam Hauser got banged up. I will say Drew Holiday looked more spirited than expected. But my fair price for game 2 is Boston minus 7. So I can't say I understand why they're 10.5.
Apologies to Knicks fans everywhere and Tim, who we love, but it is going to be funny that because the Knicks fans went into this series been like, good for us. We got a series win. It wasn't pretty. This is going to be bad. And it's funny how that switch flips in a fan's mind. Like, oh my God, we can win this. We can win the East. Like we're going to the finals. And it's going to be funny when the Knicks lose by like 40 in one of these in games. And like, well, I'm thinking like a win without a cover tonight. And then game 3, like, all right, now we're back. We're home.
Go up 2-1, guys.
And they just lose by 40 at home or something. That's going to be the realization game. And there's a question: does this mean the Knicks are a bet at price
for game 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no action in this series at all. What's keeping
you from betting the Knicks plus 10 then?
Knicks plus 10.5. That's a decent play. That's a decent play. All right, I'm in. I usually don't wait. I usually wait till we get a little more information. And I'm assuming that some of our friends with Celtics connections will be able to tell us what in the world's going on with Porzingis and if Sam Hauser is actually compromised. The fact that Sam Hauser matters should be a red flag for Celtics fans. That alone puts you in DEFCON 5 if that matters. So I was kind of waiting to get a little bit of confirmation, but I'm kind of expecting that Porzingis is not going to be available. And if anything, this could creep to 9.5. So maybe it's best to just get involved right now while it's still 10.5. I don't see it, man. I'm not sure that I'm ever going to get to fair in this one unless the market really does kind of adjust the Celtics fair.
Okay. And then, an even bigger number in a game 2, 11, the Thunder 11.
Yeah.
At home. That series or that game price is like minus 600. And I don't know. I caught part of that. 11 still seems like a pretty big number it's a super team, but super team versus probably the best player. Best player in the playoffs.
Yeah. My series price is underwater right now for the Thunder. Thunder are minus 321. My fair for the Thunder is minus 244. So just wild to be here, but I have less confidence in the Celtics and the Thunder than the market right now to get through these series.
Well, they can't. I just don't think that they like to make wild adjustments off one game when it was such a big favorite. Whereas I'm
not adjusting either team's rating at all. Just the fact that there is a game.
The fact that the game happened, yeah.
Yeah, That's the only thing that I'm including in my projection here. I guess here's some thoughts on yesterday's game. I'm not my DEFCON. I don't have a DEFCON rating yet on the Thunder. Right. This is now divorce this from the pricing exercise, right? Like, is there a reason to be concerned about the Thunder based on that yesterday's outcome? I'm gonna go full copium here, and I'm gonna say no reason to be concerned. That was the wake up call they needed. They can still win this series in 5, and I don't think anyone should be surprised. The Thunder are clearly the better team. Jokic is a very singularly special player. He is probably right now on the borders of all-time top 5, just in terms of, where he will land in his career kind of accomplishments, but doesn't change the fact that this is still a team that has played a lot of basketball recently, and it's going to have to play every other day through the first 6 games of this series. So realistically, the Thunder don't have to win by 11 in game 2 to convince anyone that they are for real. They just need just win. And then you go to altitude where you are fresher, they are fatigued. You can take game 3, you can take game 4. I realistically think you can come back home for game 5 up 3-1. It is still very, very much in the cards if we're doing a qualitative handicap here. Now, what was it about game 1 that was like the wake up call, the disappointment, there's no reason to be concerned or alarmed here. Like, they gave up some very, very soft offensive rebounds all freaking game long. It felt like they were just letting the Nuggets live on the offensive glass and letting the Nuggets out effort them. That's embarrassing. Like, they sent the Nuggets to the line on a ton of really, really soft fouls. Nuggets got 33 free throw attempts in this game. Like, the underlying numbers still say to me that that the Thunder are a better team. The fact that you got up 11 more threes, you scored 5 more threes, that's a hugely positive sign. Now you can also say, well, if you got up 43 threes and you shot 35%, shouldn't you be a little bit upset that you didn't win that game? Yes, you should be. I think that ultimately the fact that they were pretty clean with the turnovers was pretty good. The fact that they only outscored the Nuggets by 3 points in fast break points and points, and that they they didn't do a better job defending in the fast break is something that can be easily cleaned up. So basically, like, the places where they were a little bit lackadaisical for me in game 1 are relatively easy cleanups. And so I'm treating this as this is a good wake up call. And I would even say that the fact that they played with their food at the end of the Grizzlies series, instead of like really just sticking a sword in them, and then the fact that they lose this game, probably this is, they're, if not now, never, in terms of wake the fuck up, guys. And so I'm hopeful that we see a spirited effort. I'm not going to play game 2 either way on the side. I do think, though, that all of the knobs to turn, all of the screws to twist for the Thunder all say one thing, which is, we're holding this Nuggets team into the 104, 105 range as opposed to letting them get to 121. So for me, that means under 231 is a jam. Team total under for the Nuggets is a jam, and expecting the defense that we saw for the balance of the regular season to show up for OKC.
And something you said right off the bat struck a chord with me. It was the lackadaisical effort in the lane, in the rebounding. Mm-hmm. It feels like when a team, maybe it's not like their identity, but when a team really performs poorly in something like that, and they've been a good team at it all year, that's what the coach yells at him about. Like, who is he specifically yelling at? Which player is going? It feels like a player prop thing, and I love an over because I'm a donkey. So, like, which Thunder player am I playing over rebounds on because he got his ass chewed?
I need to take a look at sort of what the fares are generally, because I never really look at player props. But
I know,
it's probably
numbers and price aside.
Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. You have a double big lineup that is very, very effective at preventing this from being a problem. Like, it's one thing if a relatively small ball spacing lineup for the Clippers is out there against the Thunder and getting beat on the boards. It's not okay for your double big lineup with Hartenstein and Chet to be getting beat to this degree with offensive rebounding. Like this is an embarrassment. So it would mostly be Hartenstein and Holmgren, I would expect. And like Christian Braun got 4 offensive rebounds in this game, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is the second playoff game where he has gotten 4 offensive rebounds, which is, I mean, what a player in terms of hustle. Like that's absolutely crazy. He's only had like 4 games all season where he had 4 or more offensive rebounds. And so the fact that he's done it twice in the playoffs is insane. So, you know, keep an eye, box out Christian Braun, you idiots. I don't know what else you say.
Tonight, the Timberwolves, the number seems to have settled around 6.5. Quick synopsis. We said we'd keep today to 20. We're damn near going to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair price now.
6.5?
Yeah.
I think it should be.
I don't make NBA numbers, so I'm just saying that with my gut.
I think it's
saying that from my plums. I think higher? Okay.
Yeah. This is the one where you are benefiting from all the fatigue angle for game 7, because what the Warriors just went through was substantially more torture chamber than what the Nuggets went through. So
okay.
The Warriors let go of the rope in the third quarter here, I think. So I laid the points with the Wolves. That's the only bet I got on my card.
All right. And Brad says that Chet had a bad game. He should be the angle.
Yeah. Maybe
I'll play that.
Like if the Thunder ultimately don't win the West, if they don't win this series, then they need to sincerely consider where they're going forward, because Chet was a problem yesterday.
I will I'll look at Chet over 8.5 rebounds at plus 106. That game is mañana.
It's a fun one. All right, well, let's put a bow on this then, since we said we would, and let's talk tomorrow. We'll do a little maybe a little tennis refresh. We're in Rome.
Well, golf.
Maybe a little TV and movie reviews.
Ooh, yeah.
I watched a lot of good television and movies on the airplane.
I watched Sinners. Pretty solid. Okay. I got to see Thunderbolts yet. I haven't had a chance. Well, I can't. You can't watch Thunderbolts.
Why?
They changed the name of the movie.
Oh.